Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 18 of Season 2 of the F1 2020 McLaren Driver Career Mode, where today we're here back ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. Obviously, if you missed out on the last video from Russia, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. Another very interesting race as we get into the latter stages of this World Championship. You know, we're now definitely nestled away in the flyaway season, ready for Suzuka this weekend. Obviously, a truly iconic track, I'm sure a track as well, that holds even more special memories for McLaren over most teams in the world of Formula 1 as well there. But yeah, obviously, like I said, there will be spoilers in 3, 2, 1 now. So yeah, go back and check out the last video if you don't want any spoilers just yet. But there we go, last time out then, in the Russian Grand Prix, we came through for our third P2 in a row. Mercedes have been pretty much unstoppable over the last few weeks there, but we are slowly but surely building up the gap. 36 points now, the gap to our teammate Lando Norris at the top of the championship there. Hamilton, another, 38 points back from our teammate, so things are looking quite good as we head into the final 5 races of the World Championship. Hopefully it's only a matter of time before we are World Champion. It will only be Mercedes or McLaren drivers that can be World Champion this year as well. But let's dive in then here, ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. So here we are then, ready for one-shot qualifying around one of the most iconic tracks on the Formula 1 calendar. I do always love coming back to Suzuka towards the end of the World Championship. Not always a track that's gone particularly well for me, but hopefully today we can try and get a good lap hooked up in one-shot qualifying. The AI are incredibly strong around here as well, but obviously now the bump has been patched in the final corner. It makes this place so much more enjoyable to drive around nonetheless. Then we're getting ready then. Hopefully we can try and hook up our one-shot qualifying lap here today. Obviously very difficult to do so around this circuit as we head down in towards turn 1. Oh, it's still, let's find it crazy just how late you can brake. You know, that first corner, very much just the setup for turn 2. Have got to be a bit careful over the curbs though in quite a few places around here. You know, it's an old school circuit, there is no room for error. It is just tarmac or grass in a lot of places, and this corner is one of the easiest ones where you can make a mistake there. We do get through the S's though nice and tidy, not taking too much at the front tyres there, as that was pretty much perfect through the first Degner, if I do say so myself. A little bit of wheel spin off the second, but we do luckily get the power back down as we head down into the hairpin. Try and keep it nice and tidy. Again, very easy to wheel spin on the exit of the corner there. And you can see Lando Norris just slightly in front of me. Obviously, we have brought a couple of upgrades to the car this weekend, so hopefully we're going to have the pace to try and fight with the Mercedes once more as we head down in towards Spoon. Second guessing ourselves a little bit on the exit of the corner there, and you can see it's very close between ourselves and the Mercedes at the moment, or I'm going to guess it's one of the Mercedes that is between myself and Lando Norris as we head down in towards the final couple of corners though of the lap. 130 yard run, really not much of a challenge anymore at all. Running a little bit deep on the brakes in towards the final hairpin. At the final corner we go. That's not what you want to do at the end of a qualifying lap.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Norris, Perez, and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
I'm not sure what on earth that qualifying session has just been. First of all, Lando Norris on pole position. You think, fair enough. You know, like I said, we brought some upgrades to the car. Sergio Perez, P2. It wasn't even one of the Mercedes that was splitting us at the later stage of the lap. Then Perez has somehow managed to chuck himself onto the front row of the grid, ready for the Japanese Grand Prix there. Hamilton P3 ahead of Bottas in 4th there. Gasly up in 5th ahead of Verstappen. Then you've got Charles Leclerc, Danny Kvyat, Stroll and Ocon rounding out your top 10. Then Giovinazzi gets the car up into 13th place ahead of Magnussen. Daniel Ricciardo, bear in mind he's a race winner this season, down in P15. And then, I mean, yeah, Raikkonen, 1/7 of a second behind his teammate Giovinazzi at the end of qualifying there. The only two teams that got their cars next to each other are Williams and Mercedes. One of the most mixed up grids I've seen ready for a Grand Prix this year. We, however, completely messed up our lap right at the end. I'll be honest, had the game not put us on autopilot, we probably would have binned it in the pit lane and been stuck there. We were finishing last either way around. We just sort of went full send out of the final corner there, and it has cost us dearly. But hopefully we can carve our way back through the traffic in the race tomorrow. We will put a fresh engine in the car as well. You know, we're running quite low on parts at the moment, so that does give us a good excuse to get some new parts on the car. Let's dive in then here, ready for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Ise Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs, so it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Verstappen, Kvyat, Stroll, Ocon and Sebastian Vettel, Albon, Giovinazzi, Daniel Ricciardo and Russell, Latifi, Leclerc. They've taken a grid penalty. Romain Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen, Magnussen and Mr. Monaco. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
The boss wants another podium finish this weekend. I know you're more than capable.
I think Zach Brown is being a bit optimistic this weekend if he's expecting another podium from us when all is said and done. Starting from last place on the grid, we're on a track that's not particularly easy to overtake at, as I'm sure McLaren were well aware in the 1989 Formula 1 World Championship. But ready then on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. We're going to go for the alternate strat here today. I think this one is going to be very much a case of damage limitation, seeing just how well we can hold on. We'll try and get onto the softs nice and early, and hopefully then, yeah, be quick in the latter stages of the Grand Prix. We've got a good car down the straight still, so maybe down in towards 130R, in towards the Casio Triangle as well. We can try and make some moves on other cars around us as well there. But I just want to dive right into it here today, starting from the very back of the grid. We've got a lot of cars out of position, so hopefully there's going to be a good opportunity to make up some points. It's 5 red lights, and it's a lights out, and away we go, responding incredibly well to the lights there. To be honest, I thought we jumped the start, and that's been arguably the best start I think I've had on F1 2020 as we head down in towards Turn 1, getting punted from behind, but I think that was Romain Grosjean in the Haas. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty certain I almost jumped that, or at least I thought I had jumped it when we let out of the first gear there, but we have not jumped the start. We are up 3 places off the start as well. I might be able to make that 4. No, not quite able to maintain the momentum around the outside of Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari there, but a beautiful little start then to this Japanese Grand Prix. It's exactly what we needed. Try and make up places early on. Now we've got to be a bit careful of all of the concertina and up as we head down through Sector 2 there. But I mean, Lando Norris, he's going to be comfortable in this race, I would have thought, unless something goes dramatically wrong at the inside of a couple more cars down at the hairpin. As, Latifi gets good traction out of there, but we should have a much quicker straight line speed than the Williams. He gives us a big old squeeze towards the grass, but we are now up at a 14th place as we head down through Spoon, all over the back of Daniel Ricciardo now, as he tries to get a bit of a run on George Russell there. And just look at the straight line speed we've got to the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. We might be able to cut to the inside of George Russell. Look how quick this thing is. Down the straights there, another 2 spots made up. And by the end of lap 1, we're up 7 places in this Japanese Grand Prix there. Almost into the points. I mean, we can see the points just up the road there. Lando Norris does set the fast lap of the Grand Prix at the end of the first lap there. But we've had a worldly of a start. That's, to be fair, looking at the mini-map, Lando can say the same. To be honest, Sergio Perez could come in clutch for us this weekend if he can defend from the Mercedes, if he's got enough top-end speed, which generally the Racing Point does have pretty good top-end speed on F1 2020. Maybe, just maybe, he could hold the Mercedes back, and we can obviously close in on the lot of them here. We've got a long way to go, though, before we are going to be battling with those guys. Let's see if we can try and get a good run on Giovinazzi. The Alfa Romeo, not too bad down the straights, it must be said, but we do sneak to the inside before 130R, and Giovinazzi actually does turn into me there. The hand of rage goes up, so there was definitely a little bit of contact. But we are up another spot as Lando, another new fastest lap. Might be hoping for a little bit of deja vu here as we get close to the back of another Ferrari-powered car in this Grand Prix. This time round it is Sebastian Vettel in his Ferrari all over the back as we head down in towards the final couple of corners once more to the outside into the Casio triangle. This time round we pull off the move. Can we try and get the power down on the exit? Seb's still right there, but luckily again, yeah, we've got so much poke down the straights there, nothing really that Ferrari's ever going to be able to do, and now we're just one place outside of the points in this race. Albon separates us from that top 10. Oh, Albon running a bit slow out of the hairpin there. We might be able to get a run down in towards Spoon, having a look to the inside of the Red Bull, and so far we are making overtakes look easy in this Grand Prix there as we do, you know, we hung him out to dry on the exit there, but up into 10th now, into the points we go. Looking at it, I think Sergio Perez has done a valiant effort to defend from the Mercedes for this long, but I think they have now both snuck past him in this Grand Prix. Again, we probably should be hoping that they close up to Lando Norris, as he is still our big championship rival at this stage of the championship, but I wouldn't mind seeing Lando win a couple more races. He hasn't had it all his own way over the course of this championship. Ocon a bit slow out of the second Degner. Have a look at the inside. Thank you very much. 9th place is now mine. Closing in on Lance Stroll again. We've got to take every opportunity we can get at the moment to the outside in towards the Casio triangle. And we do get right around the outside of the racing point, and Lando Norris is not pit, so we are going to dive into the pit lane at the end of lap 6, get off of these mediums, go on to a set of softs and hopefully be really quick in the second half of this Grand Prix there. Probably didn't mean we needed to go for that move on Lance Stroll, but a good, clean, tidy stop. 2.9 is not what I wanted, I can't lie, in this race, but hopefully it should mean as well we do get the fastest lap bonus point in this one as well. There was some method in my madness over the course of today's Grand Prix, but hopefully, yeah, we've got a couple of laps just to try and go for it now. Let's just see how much more time we can make up. Maybe we could try and leapfrog this little pack that was in front of us, and maybe P5. There we go, so a lot more cars now peeling into the pit lane. I don't know if we've sort of caused a bit of a concertina effect in that element there. As you can see, we actually go purple through Sector 2 straight away, so this is looking rather good at the moment as we head down in towards the final couple of corners there, nice and late on the brakes through the final turn. Get on the power on the exit, down towards the start-finish line. Where are we going to return in this Grand Prix? There is Sergio Perez, and I think Lewis Hamilton there, and look at that, yeah, we have got a huge undercut on the likes of Verstappen and Gasly there as they spent those last couple of laps battling it out with each other, and straight away then we're up into a net P5 of this Grand Prix, and even closer to the back of Perez and Hamilton. I think all this really goes to prove is just how well the upgrades are working on this car at the moment. Lando Norris into the pit lane then at the end of lap 8. It's been a very action-packed race up to this point, but we are now closing in on Sergio Perez as we sweep through 130R. Is Perez going to go defensive? Yes, he does, to the outside in towards the final chicane there. We've just got so much more grip on these soft compound tyres then. We are now up into P4 of the Grand Prix, which should be P4. New fast lap of the race as well there, as we're just going to have to use a splash of our ERS to try and defend ourselves. Back down in towards turn 1. But now just one place outside of the podium. Could Sacked Brown request still be completed? We've got 5 laps to go of this race. The gap to Hamilton, just 1 second. Ooh, Hamilton, big moment through the hairpin there. That's going to allow us to get a whole lot closer to the Mercedes. A huge kick of oversteer from the 6, no, technically 7-time world champion still in this hypothetical universe, if I'm not mistaken. But down in towards the final couple of corners. Oh, he does it again. Hamilton really struggling to get to grips with these medium tyres there, and surely this is an open invitation for us as we head down in towards 130R once again. That Merc just doesn't quite have the same top end speed as he tries to turn in, but we hang him out to dry, and we're now up into the podium places of the Japanese Grand Prix with 4 to go here. Bottas 2.6 up the road. That might be possible to close down the gap. Lando though 7 seconds clear. I think he's looking pretty safe as another new fastest lap of the day. A 26.4, another new PB in this race, and we are pushing like absolute crazy to try and close down this gap to Valtteri Bottas just in front of us there. We're taking basically a second out of him, if I'm not mistaken, on the last lap there. But with 3 to go, getting to him is one thing, getting round him might be a very, very different challenge. Valtteri Bottas doesn't get a particularly great run out onto the front straightaway. Now with the DRS, the Mercedes man is going to go defensive on us. No, he's not. But he does go defensive, but he completely slams the door shut down in towards turn 1 there, leaving us nowhere to go on the outside. Very, very aggressive defending from Valtteri Bottas, but are we going to get any more opportunities to try and sneak round him? Right, heading on to the final lap then of this Japanese Grand Prix. We've tried to save up a little bit of ERS over the last couple of laps just to see if we can get one big slingshot run on Valtteri Bottas as we head back down towards turn 1 there. The Mercedes man again trying to be cheeky with the defensive manoeuvre there. A big lockup though from Valtteri Bottas. He is feeling the pressure as we head around this final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix. And I mean, these points could be absolutely critical between myself and Lando Norris come the end of the championship here. So we need to try and stick as close under Bottas's rear wing as we possibly can. We can use all our ERS this lap. I'm not too worried, of course, about completely draining the battery. Not that we should be anyway. It is, of course, the final lap of this race. Is just a little bit of wheel spin out of the second Degner there. Can we just get closer and closer down through the hairpin, almost running to the back of the Mercedes? Watch the wheel spin on the exit of the corner there. Use a splash of overtake as we head out there just to make sure we're close enough. So maybe we can go for a run down in towards 130R, taking a big, big chunk of curb on the way in and on the way out of Spoon. Making sure we just keep it nice and tight, use all of the battery we've got left. I'm sure Bottas is doing the same. No, he's not. You can see Bottas there running incredibly low on the battery. We're not going to be close enough in towards 130R. He parks it on the apex there, down in towards the final chicane of this Japanese Grand Prix. Can we find the room around the outside? Yes, we can. Lando Norris wins the Japanese Grand Prix. We park it on the exit, try not to get any wheel spin, and we sneak P2.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
They've done it then, here at Suzuka. A brilliant win on this beloved figure-of-8 circuit. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
Let's move on to the constructors. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improve their position in the championship. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Japanese Grand Prix, and it is another 1-2 for McLaren there. The upgrades have definitely worked this weekend, as you can tell just by the fastest laps there. A 26.4 for me, obviously on the alternate strategy. A 26.5, though, for Lando Norris on those mediums at the end there. What's that? Over a second clear of Hamilton and Bottas's PBs when all is said and done there. But we do sneak away P2 from Bottas by just 1/10 of a second at the end of the Grand Prix. They only lose 6 to our teammate Lando Norris as well there. Hamilton P4, Perez did a good job to still finish P5. They're ahead of Verstappen, Gasly, Stroll, Kvyat and Albon rounding out top 10. Then you got both Renaults, both Ferraris, the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi, both Williams, and then you can see Magnussen, Raikkonen and Grosjean rounding out your finishes there. Championship-wise, it means the gap at the top comes back down to just 30 points between myself and Lando Norris with 4 races to go. So technically, if Lando gets pole position, and fastest lap in all 4 of those Grand Prix, he will be world champion, irrespective of whatever we can do at the end of the season there. It does also mean Bottas is mathematically out of it now, as whether it is just a 3-horse race, we will be crowning a British champion at the end of the season as well. Obviously, with only 104 more points available in the Drivers' World Championship as well. There you can see any other changes in your order. No one else moving around over the course of your top 20 there as well. Constructors-wise, we only need 18 more points, and McLaren will be Constructors' World Championship here. Racing Point do get the jump on Renault, though, up into P3. A very, very important 4-point advantage between those guys. Red Bull as well, now with a 4-point advantage over Ferrari as well, with just a few races to go of the World Championship. So plenty still to watch out for in the final rounds of this World Championship. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon. With round 19 of the season, we head to, I think, is it COTA or is it Mexico? I think it's Mexico, but saying that, it's probably COTA. Wherever it is, we'll be somewhere in the Americas. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.